Bonjour les élèves, j'espère que vous allez très bien. Aujourd'hui, on va faire une leçon qui s'appelle Allons-y. On va faire la leçon qui s'appelle Allons-y. So today, we are going to study adverbial pronouns or pronominal adverbs. Okay, it's a little bit confusing, but I will explain you why it is called adverbial pronouns or pronominal adverbs. Prono adverbio or adverb pronomino. Why they are called like that? Adverbial pronouns are pronouns in the sense that they replace nouns and at the same time they are adverbs representing a place, a quantity or the object of a preposition. French has two adverbial pronouns, on and e. I repeat, on and e. The characteristics of the adverbial pronouns. So, when we use on or e, they are obligatory. That means you have to use it. Usually they replace prepositions along with their objects. Can be used with another as well as like adverbial pronouns can be used with another pronoun as well as with direct and indirect object and reflexive pronouns. So, after this I will give you a few examples like when we say a plus location noun like for example à l'école, à la bibliothèque. In its simplest of use, means in the most simple use of this pronoun, y replaces the indirect object of the verb when it is followed by a noun that is a location. That means a to some place. Like for example, vous allez à la bibliothèque. So, as we know in every language, when you ask a question, we don't give a reply as per the grammatical correctness. We reply with pronouns, with adverbial pronouns. Like for example, vous allez à la bibliothèque? Are you going to the library? You can reply, oui, je vais à la bibliothèque. But mostly, like in English, are you going to the library? The reply will be, yes, I am going there. Oui, je vais à la bibliothèque is like giving a grammatically correct reply, but we normally say, oui, j'y vais. Yes, I am going there. That there is the pronoun, adverbial pronoun that is represented in French as y, and it is pronounced as e. So, y is y. Y means y and the adverbial pronoun remains e. J'y vais means I am going there. Or a plus non-person noun. So, for example, are you thinking about your film? Tu penses à ton film? You can say tu penses à ton film, which can be also a question. You can answer saying that j'y pense, or instead of saying tu penses à ton film, tu y penses. So, y means e as an adverbial pronoun can also replace with a non-person nouns that are not locations. When a verb takes an indirect object, you can replace that indirect object with the pronoun y means it sounds like e. Tu penses à ton film, tu y penses. Location constructions. For example, through the pronoun e is generally used to replace with a non-person and location nouns. You can also use it to replace other prepositions, so long as they occur before a location noun. For example, you can use it with phrases like chez moi is at my place, at my home, often used to refer to being at someone's home or dans. Like for example, elle était chez lui, she was at his house. For example, Isabelle était or Isabelle was chez Paul. Isabelle was at Paul's home. So instead of saying that, we can also say elle était chez lui. We are replacing by two pronouns already, elle et lui. And further, you can use an adverbial pronoun by saying elle y était, means she was there. 1 minute. Était is was. We have learned in the past passé composé and parfait présent. Similarly, était is also a particular form of past tense that we will learn in coming lessons. So, there are also some no-nos in this particular usage of y. As with all French grammar, the use of pronoun y is pretty restrictive. You cannot use y, means e, to replace a plus a and a person, a and a verb. For example, je réponds à Isabelle. I am replying to Isabelle. You cannot say j'y réponds. J'hésite à lire ce livre. I hesitate to read this book. You cannot say j'y hésite because a is followed by a verb lire, and in the previous case, je réponds à Isabelle, a is followed by a person. So, in this case, you cannot convert it into e or y. On. So, I told you there are two adverbial pronouns, on and e. So, on replaces the structure de plus nom, de and a noun. You could also think about this pronoun when you encounter a noun after a partitive article, a quantity word or a number. It's difficult, so I will elaborate it right away. So, the pronoun on, le pronom on, in the same way that y replaces constructions with a to give the meaning of there, on replaces ones that use de to give the meaning of some or any. So, you see like how in French these adverbial pronouns, they correspond to multiple English words. Like for example, de plus indefinite article plus noun, a first and foremost on can replace noun that uses the partitive article de. The partitive de is the equivalent of saying some. For example, if you remember when we did the negation, we used j'ai deux stylos, je n'ai pas deux stylos. In fact, in that place, de is a partitive. So, in this particular exam, like tu as du café, do you have some coffee? You go to a shop, you ask tu as du café, and the reply is oui, j'en ai, means I have some. Furthermore, on can replace de and a noun that has an indefinite article un and une. Like il a besoin d'une tasse. Il a besoin d'une tasse. Does he need a cup? No, il n'en a pas besoin. Means here you see that in this particular example, il a besoin d'une tasse. This entire une tasse gets replaced by on in negative in this particular case, but even otherwise. Non, il n'en a pas besoin. Il n'en a pas besoin. So, it can also talk about the quantities. So, quantifier. On can replace modifiers as such as quantifiers, something that gives quantity or a number. J'ai beaucoup d'amis. I have lots of friends. Je n'ai pas d'amis or je n'en ai beaucoup. So, when you also want to do a negative, you can say je n'en ai pas beaucoup, or to say j'ai beaucoup d'amis, je n'en ai beaucoup. Nous voulons 4 chaises. We want 4 chairs. Nous en voulons 4. Nous en voulons 4 means we want 4 chairs. Keep in mind, however, that even though on replaces the noun and the, if it is included, the modifier remains in its place in the sentence. That is why both beaucoup and quatre remained in the sentence even when on is joined in the sentence. So, j'ai beaucoup d'amis, beaucoup remains there, means lots of what? Lots of friends. Je n'en ai beaucoup. Nous voulons 4 chaises. So, we want, nous en voulons, how many? 4. So, the number remains. So, set verb expressions, on can replace de in the following noun in situation where de is part of the verb phrase itself. For example, se souvenir de, it's like phrasal verb as we say it in English at times, like it comes together. Give up means to quit. Similarly, in French, se souvenir de is a single set verb. So, elle se souvient de ma lettre. Elle s'en souvient. Okay, so here you have to also remember that here the de also being counted as a partitif, for example. And like Y, you cannot use on to replace de plus person, de plus verb. For example, elle parle de moi. She is talking about me. You cannot say elle en parle because here de is followed by a person, moi. Je choisis de faire des devoirs. So, de faire, de is followed by a verb. So, in this case, je choisis de faire mes devoirs, you cannot say j'en choisis. So, I am giving you some more examples only to get more acquainted with the same. Je n'en ai deux means I have 2 of them. J'y suis allé hier. I went there yesterday. Actually, in English, we say I went yesterday. There is also dropped in English. Je n'en sais rien. I don't know anything about that. Je ne sais rien. Il y en a beaucoup. There are a lot of them. So, just a few examples. So, this is a very critical part of French language. So, what I will do is like I will just revise in a different way what we have already discussed. You can use Y means which sounds like E. You can use Y, E to answer a question like Marie va à l'école bientôt. Marie va à l'école bientôt. It's a question. Marie va à l'école bientôt. Is Mary going to school soon? Oui, elle y va demain. Yes, she is going there tomorrow. Here, E refers to à l'école. Just like on, it always comes just before the verb. So, Y and en, E and on comes always before the verb. Elle a pensé à acheter ses livres. Did she think about buying her books? Oui, elle y a pensé. Oui, elle y a pensé. Here, Y is used to replace à acheter ses livres, to buy her books. As you can see, E most often replaces groups like a plus plus, like l'école, a plus action, acheter and verb in the infinitive. Like how do you find out whether it's a verb? It's like a infinitive form of the verb, like a acheter, a lire, a manger. So, these are the infinitive form. We don't use it for people though. We have personal pronouns for that, like Je pense à Marie. So here again it's à, but in this case, since it's a person, I will say je pense à elle. Je pense à Paul. Paul is Paul. Je pense à Paul. I will say je pense à lui. So there is a different set of pronouns when a is followed by a person. Another thing to note, we always use e as a pronoun for chez somebody. I told you already, chez moi, chez lui. So, tu vas chez Antoine, are you going to Antoine's place? Oui, j'y vais, I'm going there. So, e or on, examples with on. Now, on has several meanings and usages in French. For example, it is also used for the gerund form like en marchant that we have not learned. We will talk about it in further days, like when we go into deeper in the subject. Today, we will focus of en only as a pronoun. As a pronoun, en replaces a group of words that looks like de quelque chose or quelque part. You have learned quelque chose and quelqu'un in a previous lesson, so you know quelque chose means something and quelque part means somewhere. Somewhere or of somewhere or from somewhere, about something and some of it. So, if we go back into English, there will be multiple choices to make for the word de quelque chose and de quelque part. Dont is simple looking preposition, de is a simple looking preposition, but it is used in so many cases. For example, je mange de la confiture tous les matins, means every morning I take some jam, and with en it could make j'aime la confiture, j'en mange tous les matins. So instead of repeating j'aime la confiture and je mange de la confiture tous les matins, we are just simply replacing it by en. J'aime la confiture, j'en mange tous les matins. Je reviens de la boulangerie, tu vas à la boulangerie. So here again, so you understand one thing, these adverbial pronouns are used in context. That is very important. So, when you are referring something with adverbial pronoun, it should also be a part of the context. Tu as vu la boulangerie and means have you seen the boulangerie, and the answer can be oui, j'en reviens, means I am coming back from there only. So, tu as envie de dormir? Oui, j'en ai envie, means yes, I would like to sleep. So, a quick recap, e is a or chez plus something, on is de plus something. A few more examples. Je ne comprends rien à ce film. I don't understand a thing about this movie. Je n'y comprends rien. Je n'y comprends rien. So, this is one example of E. Il va chez le coiffeur. He is going to the hairdresser. Il y va. Il y va. Then, tu veux de la choucroute, means, you know, choucroute is a very special thing. Tu en veux? Tu en veux? So, here another example. Ils parlent à leur mère, they are talking to their mother. Ils lui parlent. So, here you have to understand à leur mère is a person. So, for person, we cannot use en or i, it will become lui. So, vous revenez de chez Antoine, then vous en revenez. So, these are the examples I am just giving you, so you practice them more. Then, on parle de nos vacances depuis 2 ans, on en parle depuis 2 ans. So, for 2 years, we have been talking about holidays, on en parle depuis 2 ans. There are also a number of expressions that have E in them, like the title of this the lesson itself, Allons-y. So, these include, for example, il y a and allons-y. Il y a means there is, and that y is not that we are talking of adverbial pronouns. It comes as a set. Il y a. Il y a means there is. Allons-y means let's go. So it might be a bit confusing for you guys to understand, but il y a and allons-y is a set expression, and there we don't have much to like talk about adverbial pronoun. So like we never really use je vais, so we say je vais manger or j'y vais, allez j'y vais. So you have to understand that E is also used something as an expression in French. Like you don't say that I am going, you say I am going to somewhere normally. So je vais manger and j'y vais, you have to understand this small difference. Je vais manger means I am going to eat, but j'y vais means I am leaving. So j'y vais is another expression where this E actually refers to leaving, and je m'en vais is also leaving, je m'en vais, but it is also a set. So with this we are coming to the closure of this session, and I repeat, adverbial pronouns precede the verb in all tense and moods except in imperative, remember that. And what I would like to request you that try to find out texts in your course material where you can replace right from the beginning any passage you take, and where you can replace places and things and not persons, places and things by on and e. So what I am requesting you to do is go back to your course material, find those passages, and if there is a or the plus some noun but not person, some place or some things, some quantifier, try to replace them with on and e. With this, I conclude this session. Bonne continuation, bon courage et au revoir, à la prochaine.